Hey Zebs! So for today's video I thought I would show you a couple of the cooperative games that we really like playing. Forbidden Island and Forbidden Desert, which Simon just got for his birthday. Forbidden Island we'll talk about first. The idea of Forbidden Island is that your team is on an island where they need to claim these 4 treasures and then escape the island before it sinks. And the island sinks under you faster and faster as the game goes on. On your turn, you can move, you can shore up a part of the island to unflood it, basically, and you can claim these prizes if you have all the right cards for doing so. You get some cards on your turn, and then after your turn you have to turn over these cards, which indicate which new ones get flooded or completely sunk. As you go through the game, one of the things you might turn over is something that intensifies the island sinking. You end up moving this tick mark up higher and higher, which means you have to turn more of these over, and the ones that have already flooded end up going right back on top so that they are more likely to sink entirely. Forbidden Desert, again, you're a team working together, and I forgot to point out that in both of these games everyone is a different kind of person with different abilities. For example, the explorer can move diagonally, but nobody else can. And in this game, there's a water carrier who is able to carry extra water to people, which no one else can do. So in this game, you are trying to... your helicopter has crashed in the desert, where you have come to excavate this ancient site where there's a rumor of a ancient flying machine, but you were knocked down by this storm represented by the empty space in the middle here. And as you play, you have to go and excavate tiles to find all the pieces of the flying machine and then the machine itself at the landing pad where you can take off since your helicopter is smashed. As you play, you end up turning over these cards after each person's turn, which shows how the storm moves. So, for example, this card means that these two have to move down into the storm space. The storm is now here, and for each one that moves, you have to put an additional sand covering it up. There are several ways you can lose in this version of the game. You can either die of thirst. Each card has a little marker to indicate how much water is in your canteen, and if it gets all the way down to the bottom, then you thirst to death. And another way is if you use up all of these sands and you need to place more and there's none left, then you lose. And if there's an indicator, just like this one, that goes on here to indicate how intense the storm is. If it gets all the way up to the top, then you lose for that reason too. We've only played this one once, and it was a lot of fun, but we've read that in general this one is much harder to win perhaps than that one is, and you have to be ready to lose a lot. But it's still a lot of fun to play. Well, those are 2 of our favorite cooperative games. There are other games that I really want to tell you guys about, including Pandemic and Castle Panic and Quarriors and Firefly, but they'll have to wait for another video because this one's already long enough. Until next time, stay shiny, guys.